Okay, I'm back again. Obviously I'm not good at filming because I tried to pause the other video and I stopped it, so I have to start a whole new one. Anyway, that Labrador fabric was just awful to work with. I've thrown it over here in disgust. It's so thin and flimsy, I just couldn't manage it. So anyway, I've defaulted to a better idea. I've got my beautiful Australian fabric. This one's got my little kangaroos on it that my beautiful girlfriend sent me for my birthday, and I've been saving it for to work out what I'm going to do with it. And this mask is for me, and it's in this gorgeous cotton, sort of a lot thicker fabric, so I'm just using 2 layers. I can't film and show you at the same time. I don't know how to do that, so you'll have to watch the actual tutorial from the real woman online, but just to give you an idea of where I'm at. So I've cut my fabric in a 25-inch square. I've printed out my face mask pattern, which I've pinned on. So basically you've got the square, you fold it in half diagonally, excuse me, draw a line, and then you match up this face mask. It's got the center of the face mask with the center of your fabric, and then you cut. Now you know that saying, measure twice, cut once. There's a good reason for that, which I have learnt in my sewing experience. So now I'm going to try and pause the video and cut this out and then show you what I'm doing. Let's see if it works. Okie doke, I'm back again. What I've decided about my videos is I'm not going to show you how to do the exact thing because there's a link there on the tutorial, but what I am going to do is do all the little tips where I've tried something and I think, oh, why didn't she tell me that? So I'm going to be the one who's going to tell you all the little tricks, like when she said she didn't tell you to cut out 2 pieces, things that you just automatically assume. You can't assume, especially when you're a beginner. You've got to work all these things out. For people that have been sewing a long time, it's obvious, but not for us newbies. So anyway, I've gone and I've cut it out, and now I've pinned it like she said to do. You will have a bit of wastage when you've cut out that square, but don't worry, I'm going to use that fabric for other things. You never waste fabric. You can always find something to use it with. Now, if you're looking at her tutorial, when you get to, I'm just going to open this up so you can see, you pin, so you have the right sides facing, and then this is your elastic bit. Now, a couple of things here. She had these little cute little peg clip things, which I don't have. So if you're going to pin it, make sure you've got the pin here, because previously you want the pin here, so as you're sewing along you can pull it out. Now that might sound really obvious again, but if you're coming along here and sewing that up and your pin's on the inside, that's a bit of a problem. Okay, so make sure you pin it with a little pin bit sticking out. Also, she had this elastic right up at the corner. Now what you're going to do when you're sewing, you've got it folded like this, and you're going to sew along the top. You've got to be careful when you're sewing along the top, you don't actually sew over the top of that piece of elastic. So I've moved it down a tiny bit so I make sure I don't sew over it. Do you understand what I mean? Because when we pull it inside out, you don't want, that bit's going to come out like that. If you've sewn over the top of it, if it's right up here, you're not going to be able to do that. So that's just a little trick, tip. Now, she did not include the nose thing on her one. I think maybe if you've got the this mask, you may not fog up as much because it's not coming around your mouth. Your breathing air is going to come out here rather than here and up. But I'm still going to have a go at putting the nose thing in. So you've seen my little clip. So I don't know if you can see on here, I've just traced it. And when I'm going to sew around, I'm going to do a little pocket to put that in. Now I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm going to give it a go, which is what I do with all my sewing. You don't know, you just have a go and see how it works out. So she's told you, you have to leave a gap, obviously, because you sew around it. Well, it's not obvious, is it? You sew around it and then you pull this inside out. I'll show you in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead. I say sew a lot, don't I? I'll try not to do that. I'm going to sew, unless it's S-E-W, not S-O. Okay. All right, I'll shut up now. I'll be back in a minute. Okie doke, so I've sewn all around the perimeter of this article, leaving, like it says, you leave a gap here because we're going to turn it inside out. But I'm just going to pop my nose thing in. okay, because she didn't do that. So this is an extra little step. I've sewn my little thing here, so I've got my nose thingy. We're going to go inside the fabric. Let's hope this works. And I'm going to poke it in there. Stick it in there. Oh, don't stick it all the way through, you bloody idiot. Gosh, what a twit. Okay, I've just got to sew that little tiny seam a bit more. Okay, so now I've just put that in there, okay? And then I'll close that up and fix that seam, all right? What you do then is you turn it inside out. That's what I was going to show you. Before you do that, in the thing, you get your scissors, and whenever you've got a curved area in your sewing and you're going to turn something inside out, you do this little thing that's called, what's it called, Linda? Notching or something. And you've got to be really careful, but you just do little tiny cuts into can you see that? Into your sewing. You do little cuts. So when you turn it inside out and it's got a curve, it doesn't all pucker. But you've got to be careful when you're doing this little thing that you don't cut all the way through the seam I haven't ever done that much. But yeah, so you just got to be careful. So do your little notching, right? And then you turn it inside out. If you want to be really fancy, you can just trim off any excess. I might trim that from where the sewing is to there, so I haven't got quite such a lot there, but that's just getting a bit fancy, isn't it? Okay, hang on a minute. Okie doke, back again. I've just turned this inside out, the right side out, and you need to get something like a knitting needle and poke out your corners. Now when you're doing this, makes your corners turn out nicely. When you're doing this, be careful, don't be too hard, because if you shove that in there, sometimes someone that doesn't know what they're doing might do it too hard, and next thing you know, your knitting needles come right out of there. Not that I've done that very often either, but of course I have. Okay, so we're turning out all the corners. Now that little notching, this is the bit here. You can see there's a little tiny bit of puckering, but when you iron that, that'll come out. If you hadn't done that snipping, this bit would all be puckered and not nice. Okay, I've got to do this corner bit over here, and we're nearly finished. Now, how long did this take me? Well, sometimes they say, oh, this will take 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Add 1 hour is my advice, unless you've done it lots of times. I think the first time I do anything, it's a learning curve, and then I get faster as I make more, but I certainly don't do it in 15 minutes like they say to start with. Now with that nose thing, how I came out the top, it was because I was scared to sew. I was trying to stay away from that top seam, so I didn't sew that along there. That was what I was trying to warn you about before. When you're sewing that seam, you didn't want to sew that down, because if you got to this stage, you wouldn't have your elastic out here. Do you get what I mean? Okay, so now I'm going to iron this, and that little opening where we turned it inside out, do that, and then we're just about finished. Okay, so I'm going to do that and come back, and I'm really loving this. Back in a minute. And just like that, voila, I've got my face mask. I don't know what you call them, scarf mask. So I've got it tied, just tied it up around the back of my neck. Okay, and then I can just pop it down like this. I've got my little scarf, and when I go into the shop, which I'm going to be doing very shortly, into Sainsbury's, I've got to go and do the food shop, I can just put my mask on. Oh, I'm really thrilled with this. I'm so glad that lady asked me about it at the market yesterday or Saturday. You can see I've got this fabric with the pattern, just a little tip on cutting fabric with patterns. Because this got cut on the diagonal, I couldn't have my kangaroos up. My kangaroos are hopping this way, but if you're fussy about which way your fabric's going, just look at that when you're cutting. That doesn't matter that they're sideways, but I've cut dresses where the things have been upside down very often. But anyway, that doesn't matter. So I've got this little mask. A lot of you, I know in Melbourne, you're stuck in lockdown and you've got sewing machines in your cupboard. Sharon McCulloch, you're one of them. Get it out of your cupboard, stop hand sewing and have a go. I didn't know how to sew before lockdown happened on the 23rd of March, so I've learned all of this, and you can do it too. So in terms of this, I think I might make them for my next stall, and I'll probably charge, I only charged her £8 yesterday, because I had the fabric given to me, so I didn't have to pay for the fabric, but it was beautiful cotton fabric, and I didn't really know how much to charge, but I reckon I would probably, at my next market stall, charge £10 for one of these, because I would need to buy the cotton fabric. I don't have any fabric left. I mean, I've got loads of fabric in scrap, but I don't have this size. So cotton fabric, I pay it's around £8 a metre, which is $16 Australian. Look, I still convert, actually. I was going to say I've stopped converting. I still convert. So everything here in London, you just double it for Australian prices. And London is a very expensive city. So I think I'd probably charge about £10 for one of these at my next market stall. If you would like me to make one for you, I'd be very happy to, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to start charging now. I'm a professional London stall holder. Anyway, I'd be very happy to make them for you, and I can send them home to Australia, but again, postage, it's not cheap. I've spent a fortune sending stuff home to Australia, but anyway, look, if you'd like me to make one for you, or if you want some help in how to do it, I'm sure you can manage it, because if I've been able to do it, you can do it too. Oh, just let me pan to the side here. Guess what I'm doing after I've done my food shopping and cleaning? This house is a pigsty. I've got to clean this absolute craft everywhere. But look, just let me show you my new baby. Oh my God, that's my new overlocker. I'm terrified of it. I have no idea how to use it. Not only thread it, I don't know how to operate it. But my friend Esther has offered to help me, and I've got the very talented Martin Angelin, who in between very important business meetings might be able to help me. But look, there'll be tears and tantrums before bedtime, and that'll just be Martin. So I'll be on YouTube this afternoon working out how to do this. It has come threaded with coloured thread, but I think that's just to show you how to do it. But look, I'm really scared of this little puppy. I'm sure I'll be able to master it in time, but it'll take a little bit of fiddling with. Anyway, that's it from me today. I hope that this has been helpful. Have a go at making these, but I will make that Labrador one. But this was very cheap fabric and very flimsy, and just trying to fold it in half, it wouldn't match up, and it was just driving me nuts. But I'll finish that one off, and this is going to be my new look from now on. And so thank you, Bardi, for this fabric. I'm really glad that I didn't make anything for anyone else in this Australian fabric. I've got three other gorgeous fabric. I've got my koalas, my cockatoos, and my kookaburra fabric. So, oh God, where's my ear? Bloody hell. Ha, that's better. That's 6.5 inches of elastic, and it's just comfortable. And I'm not fogging up, but I have got the nose thing in. I can pop under my glasses. So anyway, look, I haven't got time to sit around chatting to you all day. I've gone on for 13 minutes, and that's long enough for you to hear from me for one day. So I'm off to the food shop. Happy sewing, everybody. Oh, by the way, just one more thing before I go. Don't worry about watching MasterChef. Get onto the Great British Sewing Bee. It's the best thing I've ever watched on television, and I'm only sad that I can only get the current series, which is just finished. And apparently there's 5 or 6 other series that I cannot access for love nor money. I can't even buy a box set because I don't have a DVD player. So if anyone can tell me how I can access the previous seasons of that, I'll make you one of these for free. That's a fair deal. Okay, see you later. Bye.